Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, January 22nd. So, welcome to the live show. Um, as I've said repeatedly, still don't have a name for it. Probably, probably should come up with one. I do like the idea of balanced breakfast. Obviously, for most Americans, this is morning. Goes with the fair and balanced theme. So maybe someday we will come up with a real name for these daily shows. Maybe even a logo, maybe even a slogan. Hell, maybe even a jingle. I don't know. But actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. Tomorrow on Friday's live stream, where we tend to have a little bit more fun, we'll devote some time, we'll kind of brainstorm together. Maybe we'll come up with a good title for this show. I do like balanced breakfast though. Like I'm leaning towards that. But anyway, I see a lot of people in the chat from various parts of the United States talking about the frozen tundra they are in. And yes, we do have those winter storms making their way across the United States. Where I am here, it is not actually supposed to start until I think Sunday evening with the freezing rain. They're not predicting any snow from my area yet. Although we did have, 12 inches of snow actually a year ago, which is the first time that has ever happened where I live. So that was interesting and fun for about 24 hours. And then it was just really annoying. So I can't imagine living in that, for an entire season. So that is rough. My sympathies to you. It's also beautiful though. Don't get me wrong. I do love the snow, and for folks who are used to it, I'm sure it's a lot easier than those of us who that was really our first instance of it. But yes, winter storms are coming. Please, everybody, take precautions. Stock up on what you need to stock up on. Don't be foolish with it. Don't create shortages. If you need it, get it. If you don't. Stay warm. If you need to go out, get a portable heater, something like that, please do so. Check on relatives, check on neighbors, check on pets. Do not leave them outdoors. So that is, my kind of message for this morning. Before we kick off, how Donald Trump humiliated himself, the United States, and was made a fool of on the world stage on Wednesday. As everybody knows, on Wednesday morning, Donald Trump gave his speech in Davos, right? The World Economic Forum. He is there standing like somebody who has frontal temporal dementia, as multiple health experts pointed out throughout the day yesterday. That weird posture he has with butt here, head out here, is a symptom of frontal temporal dementia. It's not just, he stands weird. It's a symptom of a very serious neurological condition. Everybody needs to understand that. But aside from that, we're taking Iceland. That's news to, I think, a lot of people, including Donald Trump himself. So that was one of obviously the most humiliating things that happened yesterday, on top of his little diatribe about how I got there and they called me daddy. They called me daddy. Daddy's here. Daddy's taking care of us. That was creepy and weird, especially coming from a guy who has sent out 2 campaign emails in the last week telling his supporters, I'm sitting in the dark alone thinking of you. Not exactly images we want in our heads. So please, for the love of God, stop putting them there, Donnie. But the big news obviously came after the speech, where Donald Trump proudly got on Truth Social and announced, oh my God, we're getting Greenland. Kind of, sort of, but also not at all. Here is what he put on Truth Social. Based upon a very productive meeting that I have had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. This solution, if consummated, will be a great one for the United States of America and all of NATO nations. I'm gonna continue that in just a second. Oh, buddy, not the right word, not the right word, but also yes, the correct word, because you got fucked hard with this so-called framework of a future deal, because bits and pieces of the framework have in fact now come out. Donald Trump agreed, and this is the rest of his post. He says he is not going to put those tariffs on Europe, right? The additional ones that were supposed to go into effect on February 1st, those are gone. So Europe doesn't get the tariffs, which means we, the American people, don't pay them. So that's good. Europe wins there. And then with the Greenland deal, the U.S. is going to get, quote, pockets of land to use, not to have, but to use. Now, does everybody understand that the United States already has pockets in Greenland? We have pockets. Yeah, we got a whole military base there. So we essentially get what we've already had. Europe doesn't get tariffs, and Donald Trump stops trying to take over Greenland. So sounds like Donald Trump gets nothing, and Europe doesn't have to worry about Donald Trump starting World War III. So they win, he loses, and he's out here bragging about it like he just made the greatest deal in the history of deals. You got rolled over by NATO and you don't even know it. And I love it. I am so glad that they did this. And I'm so glad they did it in the way in which they did it. Because now Donald Trump, who less than a week ago told us that nothing less, those were his words, nothing less than full ownership of Greenland is acceptable. That is what Donald Trump told us. He said, we don't want to lease it. We don't want pieces of it. We want the whole thing, and we want to own it, and we want to control it, and nothing less will be satisfactory. Less than a week later, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely take less. I mean, I just want some pockets here. I just want to put some stuff over there, just a little bit of storage. And they were like, yeah, okay, fine. You kind of already have that. So why don't you just take the base you have? Oh, yes, a military base. I think I will. I'm such a great deal maker. I won't put tariffs on you now. And Europe's like, you got us. Oh, no, you're so brilliant. Oh, whatever are we going to do? Enjoy your Greenland land. We'll miss it dearly, but you've earned it by being such a skillful negotiator, Mr. Donald. I love this so much because he's too dumb and too demented to even know that it happened. And of course, it prevents us from launching a military invasion of Greenland. We don't have to pay more for goods coming into the United States, so that's always a good thing. But this guy is bragging about this with no realization at all that, yeah, it was consummated, and he was the one who took it pretty hard, unfortunately. My apologies, guys, for those analogies there, but hey, he's the one who used the word. I'm just running with it. Okay, I can only work with what he gives me. And we got to talk about the craziness too, right? I mean, it's not just that, yes, he got rolled by NATO. I want to read some quotes. I'm sure you've all seen the clips. You may have seen other folks talk about them, but I don't want these to ever die because they are so insane. I'm dealing with President Putin and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm deal with President Zelensky and I think he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today. He might be in the audience right now. But they got to get that war stopped because too many people are dying, needlessly dying. Too many souls are being lost. It's the only reason I'm interested in doing it. But in doing, I'm helping Europe. But in doing, I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've, until the last few days, when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right? The last time, very smart man. He said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it when I went from running it to being a terrible human being. That is all one flow, right? There's not breaks. There's no ellipses in there. That is the start of his thought to the end of it. From, man, I got to get Putin to end this war, to like, hey, call me daddy in Iceland. That's just one. That's just one. Another one said, so with all of the money we expend, with all the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd there for us. They're not there for on Iceland. That I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. Iceland hasn't cost us anything. Like, leave Iceland alone. Why are you bringing them up? Oh, it's because you don't know the difference. Got it. Thank you. He declared that the United States is keeping the whole world afloat and called out European leaders directly, pointing them out in the crowd and somewhat jokingly accusing them of being too scared to even look at him. He said, I realize in that conversation that the United States is keeping the whole world afloat. Many places, I could give you 6, 7 places just in the people in this little area. I know every one of them. They're looking down. They don't want to see me and they don't want to stare me in the eyes, but they're taking advantage of, everybody took advantage of the United States. They're avoiding eye contact because they don't want to laugh. They don't want to laugh at this elderly dementia patient up on stage because that would be very insensitive and rude. So they're looking down, just like, oh my God, why is he still talking? Why is he here? Why are the doctors not doing something? That's what they're thinking, Donald. It's not because, oh, he's so scary, I can't look daddy in the eyes. No, they don't want to laugh at you. But they did, so they couldn't even hold it in. And he also said, Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful, but they should be grateful to us, Canada. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark. Next time you make your statements. So he's threatening the rest of the world. He's trying to embarrass the rest of the world. He's insulting the rest of the world while he doesn't even know which countries he's trying to annex, right? Iceland. And again, he's standing like this because of the dementia. And he thinks people are afraid of him. Here's the other part, though. One of the reasons he caved so quickly on Greenland and the tariffs is because before that announcement, before he got on Truth Social, was like, oh, look, I did all these great things and I get nothing and they get everything. The European Union had announced publicly, because of his tariff threat, we're not negotiating a trade deal anymore. Like, that's over. We're scrapping it. He can go to hell. So they played hardball and won and got everything. And this demented old doddering fool got absolutely nothing. A bunch of super chats came through. I don't know if I can find all of them. I hope I can. Let me get some of these. Said, did someone make him watch Team America World Police and he thinks it's real? That would not surprise me. V-Man says, hey, Farron, with this winter storm incoming, it will keep ice out of action for a bit since we already know their weakness is ice. Yeah, that is absolutely one of the most ironic things ever is ice can't handle actual ice. We've all seen the video of those morons out there slipping and sliding like a bunch of kids out there having some fun, falling on their big fat asses. So I hope to see more of that. Those are fun videos. Trump better leave Iceland alone. I still hope to visit there one day and relax in the Blue Lagoon Spa. My sister actually did go there a year or so ago, and she still talks about it to this day. It was apparently amazing. There is hope that Viktor Orban will lose his election in Hungary and Peter Magyar become prime minister in April. Hopefully Trump loses an ally. That would be great. I mean, Orban is absolutely horrific. So keep us posted on that. That's not something I have, really been paying attention to, honestly, at all. So keep us posted on that, because I don't know that I'm even going to see news on that with the sites that I go to. Pardon me, folks. Got some allergy issues driving me insane today. Let's talk about Iceland. So as everybody knows, Donald Trump repeatedly referred to Greenland as Iceland on Wednesday during his speech in front of the entire world. Iceland, 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 Iceland. But he meant Greenland. So you got to imagine that the White House comms department, led by Caroline Leavitt, oh boy, they got their hands full. However, are they going to spin it? Well, Caroline Leavitt decided that the best way to spin it is to just literally tell people that never happened. Nope. The thing you saw, the thing you heard, Caroline Leavitt came out publicly saying, no, that didn't happen. So here's how that happened. On Twitter, you had a News Nation correspondent, Libby Dean, said President Trump appeared to mix up Greenland and Iceland around 3 times. That was on Twitter that Libby Dean said that. Now, she did not tag Caroline Leavitt. She did not tag the White House. She didn't tag the White House War Room. Didn't tag anybody. She just said from her own Twitter account, like, Trump messed up and said Iceland instead of Greenland at least 3 times. Caroline Leavitt sees this tweet, decides for no reason at all to respond to it, and says, no, he didn't, Libby. His written remarks referred to Greenland as a piece of ice because that's what it is. You're the only one mixing anything up here. So the thing that billions of people around the planet heard yesterday live as it happened, only Libby Dean actually heard it because it didn't really happen. That is what Caroline Leavitt, the youngest press secretary ever, wow, how admirable. That's what she said. It didn't happen. So all of us who think it happened, we're crazy. We're insane. We're the ones with Trump derangement syndrome. There is something seriously wrong with Caroline Leavitt. I firmly believe that if she had to go in for psychiatric testing, she wouldn't leave. They would have her committed. That's what I personally believe. I think there is something deeply psychologically wrong with her. The rage alone should have her in counseling. But the denial of reality, that is a very serious mental illness. That is the type of thing that ends up getting people committed or put into homes. And she is literally doing it publicly. And the kicker is for no reason. She didn't have to do that. She wasn't tagged. She wasn't addressed. This wasn't during a press briefing. So it's not like she had to say something because it's right there on camera. It was some person that works for News Nation on Twitter said something. And all you had to do, Caroline, was ignore it. But whatever demons you have kicking around in here, possibly literally kicking in there, forced you, compelled you for some reason to go and respond to this comment by literally denying reality happened. Every step of what I just described could be a different mental illness, not a mental condition. genuine illness. And Caroline Leavitt needs help. Because if she is this bad at 28 years old, how bad is her brain going to be in 10 years, right? Like, how much are these mental illnesses that, again, I believe she has, granted, I'm not a doctor, but how bad are they going to get when left untreated? It's like a cancer that she's just letting continue to grow and take over her body by not seeking the psychiatric help that it is so very obvious she needs. But this is utter insanity. Telling the world on Twitter that what all of us just saw literally never happened. That's an illness that she needs to get treated immediately. I do want to address some more comments that have come through here. V-Man says, one good thing Trump is doing is he is tanking the global far right with his insanity. The more he tanks them, the better the world becomes. That silver linings, sometimes we got to find them where we can, but I like that. Gargoyle Dragon says, the admin personnel that we don't send to The Hague should never get a decent job ever again. And if they complain, all we have to do is point to their incompetence. They're clearly showing now. I agree. Unfortunately, Caroline Leavitt is not going anywhere for a long time. And I'm not saying she's staying with the administration for a long time. I do not think she will. What I mean is that we will be dealing with Caroline Leavitt for years, if not decades to come. She will either get a job in conservative media, she will start her own podcast, or she'll run for office in a safe red district where she knows she can win. So we unfortunately will have to deal with this, cretin for God knows how long. She may be doing it longer than I am, because I've got, a good 14, 15 years on her in age. So she could be around longer than me, unfortunately. Although, as we've seen from a lot of people in this administration, hate and anger ages you really, really badly. So maybe not. I don't know. Carlos says the Nobel Peace Prize Committee should take a page from FIFA and create a new category for most evil anti-peace prize and nominate Trump. I'm all for that. Lauren Tamara says the fact that his followers think he is a good military strategist is just draw jobbing. He embodies 4 of the 5 dangerous faults of a leader. The last, he goes so far in the other direction that it becomes a whole new fault. Cliff Masta says, is there enough exorcists out there to banish the demons out of Caroline Leavitt? I doubt it. I also doubt that. And again, no offense to her, except a lot of offense to her. I think we're going to be dealing with like a Rosemary's Baby type situation here. Because there is no way that this vessel of pure hatred and evil is going to, give birth to this loving, wonderful angel. Like, no, the spawn of Satan could be in her right now. And that would explain a lot about why she is the way she is. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, if the gates of hell are going to open up the moment she gives birth. Let's move on, folks. We've got some Epstein file news to talk about. We could be watching as several different people are held in contempt over their refusal to talk about the Epstein files. And those 2 people happen to be Bill and Hillary Clinton. The House Oversight Committee voted on Wednesday, along party lines, of course, to hold Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt for failing to comply with a subpoena to come and talk to the committee about what they know about Epstein and Maxwell. So now, I think next week, Comer says they're going to bring this full motion to the House floor to hold these bastards in contempt and then get the DOJ to prosecute them and send them to jail and fine them each $100,000, which honestly, I'm all for. Do it. They defied a subpoena. I mean, that's what Roger Stone got busted for. We did it to them. They're going to do it to us. And honestly, if you defy a congressional subpoena, regardless of which party you identify with, you should be held responsible and accountable. And for the record, it was very stupid of the Clintons to not comply with the subpoena. Like, I have no sympathy for them. And it does kind of annoy me that the Democrats were like, no, we're voting against this. You shouldn't have done that. You should have been like, you know what? We'll go with it. They defied a subpoena. They broke the law. Let's hold all people who break the law accountable, regardless of party affiliation. Oh, and by the way, speaking of breaking the law, have you ever heard of somebody named Pam Bondi? Since we're talking about Epstein files and people breaking the law, nobody's doing it more than Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States. For the record, Summer Lee did bring that up. And Summer Lee actually tried to attach an amendment to this motion for contempt that said, okay, yeah, Bill, Hillary, totally contempt. Also, so is Pam Bondi. So let's add that to this, and then we can all vote on it. But the Republicans who control the House Oversight Committee struck down Summer Lee's amendment. So full props to Summer Lee. Like, absolutely wonderful move, and absolutely visibly hypocritical for the Republicans on the committee to say, oh, no. We don't care about this law breaking. We only care about this law breaking because this is being done by Democrats and this one's being done by Republicans. So we don't touch this one, but screw these people. We're going to nail them to the damn wall. Now, for the record, nothing's going to happen to Bill and Hillary Clinton. Do you know why? Because the DOJ is so insanely incompetent that they can't get convictions on cases where they should have easily gotten convictions. So I do think that Bill and Hillary are probably going to walk away scot-free. Maybe that's why they decided to defy it. They were like, you know what? What's Pam Bondi going to do to us? Oh, no, she's going to prosecute us. Yeah, bring it on. They're both lawyers, by the way, Bill and Hillary. Not that they've been in practice for decades, but I don't think they're worried about it. So it is insanely hypocritical. It is visibly hypocritical because obviously this is something the entire public can see and know about. Bondi's been breaking the law for a month now, over a month. And Republicans are literally telling us, no, we absolutely will not hold her accountable. Bill and Hillary broke it, less than a week ago, and we've already got contempt charges ready to go. I mean, really shows you the priorities there. Honestly, put them all in jail. Prosecute all of them. I don't give a damn about it. I'm not going to sit here and cry over spilt milk if Bill and Hillary Clinton end up going on trial. I'm not even going to care. I may not even talk about it unless something funny happens. That's how little I care about it. But I do think Bill missed a big opportunity to go in front of that House committee and testify and be like, all right, y'all want to know about what was going on with Epstein? I'll tell you. It all starts with a little guy named Donald Trump. Me and him, and as soon as he started saying that, Republicans would be like, adjourned, we're done. Bye, see you later, we're out of here. That's all he had to do. But they missed a big opportunity, and now, of course, they should rightfully pay the price for defying the congressional subpoena. I have no problem with that. What I do have a problem with is an attorney general who literally told a court last Friday that her department is above the law. And they filed that motion with the court like 2 hours after Bondi got on social media and literally said, no one is above the law. And then she declares herself above the law, been breaking it for over a month, and Republicans refuse to hold her accountable. So there's all that. I do think it's hilarious. Let's go to some comments here. This one, let me double check. Gotcha. The fact that his followers think he is a good military. Oh, I already read that one. Please remember to like and share the stream. If we can't get people to join us, we can at least piss them off by flooding the algorithm. Hey, I like that strategy. That's a great idea. Love it. Love from Sweden. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And thank you and the rest of Europe for fighting back so intelligently against Donald Trump. We appreciate that. Real quick, one other thing I want to talk about for just a moment here. This is a story. Let me just explain my process here. All day long, I'm going through news sites and I'm looking for stories, typically on my phone. So what I do is when I find one that I like or that I think would be good to talk about, or even if it's just a little piece of that story that, oh, this will come in handy later, I email it to myself. Once we get towards the end of the week like this, I end up with a bunch of stories that I never had time to get to, even though I liked them and I want to talk about them. And so this is one of those stories. I've been sitting on it for like 5 days now, just because I never had time to talk about it. But I do want to talk about it because this is probably the funniest thing I've talked about all week. Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, former Fox News personality, hasn't been in the practice of law for over 20 years, has failed again. To everyone's surprise, right? Oh my God, how could this woman who hasn't tried a case in 2 decades spent the last 20 years as a talking head? How could she not be a good prosecutor? I know it's a real head scratcher, folks, especially with a case that honestly was a slam dunk. Like, I am shocked. But what happened was you had a jury acquit a man that Jeanine Pirro was prosecuting for allegedly shining a laser pointer into the cockpit of Marine One while Donald Trump was on board the helicopter, which is a felony. But the jury returned in 35 minutes with a not guilty verdict. 35 minutes. They couldn't even finish 2 episodes of Seinfeld in the time it took them to come back and be like, yeah, he's not guilty. But that's not the funniest part. And what I'm about to say is not in any way meant to be disrespectful to anyone. So please do not take it that way. The man who allegedly shined this like cat toy laser pointer into the cockpit of Marine One is a homeless man. So he had no money, obviously. So he had a public defender. And I have nothing but pure respect for public defenders. They are overworked, they are underpaid, and they are handling more cases at once, different cases, different topics, different things. It is one of the hardest legal jobs ever. And I can tell you that as somebody who spent over 2 decades in the legal profession. And that is why typically public defenders will do their best to either get some kind of pretrial diversion program, get a plea going, because they simply do not have time with the massive caseload to do all these things. So this guy has a public defender. The public defender is going up against the full might of the United States Department of Justice, because that's what is backing U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. The public defender won against the government of the United States. And again, that's not saying that, oh, wow, public defender, you should lose everything. But a public defender winning against the government of the United States is virtually unheard of. Like, whoever the lawyer, I think there was actually 2 of them, these public defenders, they should be getting offers from every single top law firm, plaintiffs, not corporate, in the country right now. Like, their phones should be ringing off the hook with law firms begging, like, please come work for us. Because that is phenomenal. That is not something that we see happen here in the United States justice system. Public defenders not just taking down the government, taking them down in 35 minutes and humiliating them on a case that they should have lost. I don't know if everybody has seen videos from inside of a cockpit about what happens when somebody shines, a tiny little laser pointer from the ground 30,000 feet away. But you should watch that because it is dangerous and deadly. A tiny little laser pointer shined from the ground into a cockpit of a plane or a helicopter basically turns into this massive blinding green light inside the cockpit. So it is dangerous. It is a felony. And the public defender was even like, yeah, this guy did have the thing. And the jury, after 35 minutes, was like, nope, we're going with the defendant here. Jeanine Pirro, go kick rocks. So these public defenders did a damn good job with this. Again, on something that, for I think a competent U.S. attorney, this had been a slam dunk. So good for the defendant, good for the public defenders, hilarious failure for Jeanine Pirro. And that's about par for the course with what we have seen from Donald Trump's DOJ, which may also explain why Bill and Hillary Clinton probably not too afraid of being held in contempt by James Comer in Congress because they know what they're up against if the DOJ wants to prosecute them. There's a comment that really caught my eye. It says, "You look good, Farron." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been working harder on it. Plus, yesterday I finally got around to shaving and trimming the beard, which also makes me look better. It's actually, if we're just going to talk about me and how I look, it's one of the things I've been wanting to really get in a better habit of is the grooming of myself. My hygiene is great. Don't get me wrong. Grooming and hygiene are not interchangeable, but it's the grooming. I'm bad about like cutting my fingernails or trimming my beard and even shaving when I should be doing this like 3 or 4 times a week. It's a hassle and I don't like to do it. So I really am trying to get back in the, not back, but into a habit of doing that multiple times and looking nicer and feeling nicer. Because I do feel better than I have felt in 20 years, to be honest with you. In fact, I had a regular, medical checkup last week and my doctor repeatedly told me, he goes, "You look healthy." And that was great to hear. That's probably one of the best things you can hear from your doctor is you look healthy and I feel better. And I like that. And I've gotten new clothes and, I had to get rid of all of my, giant clothes. I've already donated 8 giant bags to Goodwill. I have 6 more, that I'm currently almost like filled to the point where I can't pick them up. But yeah, I appreciate the comment. And yes, this has been a process for me and I hope to continue it. On that note, folks, we've got a lot of wonderful content coming up throughout the rest of the day. Please stay tuned for that and share it. Share it all, share it wide, share it repeatedly. Feel free to tag me in it. I may like it. I may not click the little heart depending on if I see it or not, but share it across social media platforms. Let's get the word out there. And as I've been saying recently, and I want to keep saying this to remind y'all, don't just share my stuff. Go share other creators' stuff as well. The rising tide lifts all ships. So let's get all of us up. Let's get all of us out there. Let's band together. Let's all be a part of this instead of each one of us having to be out there on our own. And the audience, you guys play such a huge role in that. So please do share, not just me, everybody else that you can. So thank you all for tuning in. Tomorrow is Friday. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some seriousness as well. But I say that, I honestly don't even know what we're going to talk about yet. So I may just be blowing smoke at you. We may just talk about the most boring, mundane things either. But I'm relatively certain we will have some laughs tomorrow. Either way, tune in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Sorry, I'm talking too fast and getting ahead of myself. Anyway, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow.